Hope you're doing well. Thanks for joining me on this live training. So today I want to share a few bits with you. I want to share a couple of stories, and I want to touch on a few things that are quite personal to me, but I also want to make sure that I leave you with 4 steps of things to really help move you forward. So hopefully you find this training useful. Hopefully the feed is working. If you can hear me, if you're watching this live, hashtag live. If you're watching this on replay, hashtag replay. I think quite likely a lot of people will watch this on replay, but either way, if you're live, hashtag live. If you're watching this on replay, hashtag replay in the comments. Whichever platform you're watching this on, this is being streamed across multiple platforms using the glories of technology. But to dig into something more serious, recently I was faced with quite a difficult task, and it was quite painful, if I'm really honest. And I needed to take a really hard look at myself in the mirror, and really work on chipping away at the person behind the mask. So I think, like most people, especially when you are maybe introverted, or something has led you to have at some point in your life lower self-esteem, you put a mask on to really help you, a metaphorical mask. Actually, this is my actual face, a metaphorical mask to hide behind. And I decided that I wanted to try and remove this mask, and I just wanted to really put forward who I truly am and address a few things that I'd seen that were becoming repeated patterns in life, to stop them from happening again. Because the reality is, we can be whoever we want to be, right? And some people get that, some people don't. But we truly can be whoever we want to be. But by default, if we don't make a decision of how we want to be, we're going to behave in a certain way. We're going to have certain actions, and these are going to ultimately be the result of our previous life, our conditioning. So particularly our childhood. And I discovered that when I really started to dig into this, that I was somebody who was quite conflicted. So as a child, I was brought up in an environment where my mum wanted me to be successful, but there were also points that I needed to be invisible. There was points that I should be seen and not heard, and there was other points that I should not be seen and not heard. I should truly be invisible. But that creates conflict, because it's very difficult to be successful and invisible. They don't go hand in hand. I grew up in an environment, my dad died when I was 5 in a motorcycle accident, and that left its mark on me, as it would any child losing a parent, but especially the relationship I had with my dad. The few memories I have are very fond, and I was referred to as his best boy. We had a very typical father-son relationship. I'm named after him. So that affected me. But because of my upbringing, and because of how even at that point I'd been raised, I just kept it to myself. Even at 4.5 years of age, I just buried it, because I didn't want to be a problem to anyone. I wanted to just be successful, and I wanted to be invisible. And as I grew up, as I was 6, 7, 8 years of age, I saw my mum get her heart broken over and over again, men doing not nice things, cheating on her, etc. And as an 8-year-old, I was then thrust into the role of trying to be a makeshift husband, having to pick up the pieces that were left behind. But I was kind of powerless, because at 8 years old, there isn't a great deal you can really do to provide for your mother. And you can't really even protect her that well, but you do what you can, and you become this person who is used to swallowing their own problems to take care of everyone else, put the world on their back and raise them up. And that's ultimately what I'd become. And I'd become somebody like that. Type of environment, it creates someone quite specific. Bear with me, there is a point to all of this. And like someone who feels they've put the whole world on their back, they've swallowed their own problems down, and they focus on everyone around them. I think there's quite a lot of people who feel like that. If that sounds a bit like you, or that resonates with you, I welcome you to put a 1 in the comments. I want to make sure I'm talking to people who this resonates with, and it's going to be difficult for me to go between the comments and so, but I will look at them afterwards. Like if you're somebody who like feel that it creates hunger, like that type of environment, it created a real hunger inside of me for success in an effort for validation in life. To be perfectly honest, I had a big void inside of me, thinking that it's a bit of a cliche, but thinking that money and recognition will somehow fill that hole that my childhood created. But in reality, it won't. And I think that will resonate with people as well. So if that resonates with you, please put a 1 in the comments if you're watching along. I really appreciate anyone joining in and really immersing themselves in this, because I am trying to be a bit more vulnerable, and with that comes some fear, because it leaves me open for judgment. So I really appreciate anyone watching this and who is also taking part in this. But like, there's a process that we need to be able to follow to be able to achieve pretty much any goal. I believe that our goals change as we grow. Like what we often think is the thing that we want when we first start out in adult life is not really what we want. But until we achieve that, or some version of it, until we achieve that first thing and then a second version and a third version, it's only then that we start to really get more clarity on what our true goal and what our true outcome that we're looking for really is. And I think this is something that I know I've heard a million times before, and I'm sure you probably have as well. But every millionaire out there, every 7, 8, 9, 10-figure guru out there telling you that money won't make you happy and it won't fill the void, so don't chase it. But the only reason they feel that way is because they've achieved that goal, realized that that isn't the path that they wanted, and it doesn't give them what they thought it would give them. But the problem is, as human beings, we still then chase that goal because we feel we need it. Because ultimately, we need to have scars. Like we need to have battle wounds, however much they hurt, as we go through life. Because it's what makes us who we are. And I'm honestly thankful, looking at the 37 years of my life that I've had, I'm thankful for, to be frank, the tragedies and the disasters that have happened in my life, because they shape who I am right now, and they give me contrast to allow me to appreciate the great things that I have in life. Because like when I break down how we achieve a goal, like there's steps, genuinely, there is literal steps to achieve a dream outcome. And that can be in business or life. The steps are literally the same. Like I'm not saying the exact actions are the same, because clearly they're not going to be the same to have a great life versus a great business, because it's going to be more specific. But the steps are exactly the same. It's a sequence, it's a recipe, and it kind of boils down to 4 things. And I want to go through those 4 things in a minute and really start to help hopefully inspire a few people to take some action. If I help one person, then it's been a job well done, as far as I'm concerned. These 4 things, ultimately, they've got several things inside of them. But for the sake of simplicity and time, like I want to give you something today that you can really take action on. And I'll say in total, this whole training, this whole live video shouldn't take any longer than 25, 30 minutes tops. So we're about 8 minutes in at this point. So lock in, and I hope you really enjoy this and get some genuine value from this. I also want to say that in order for you to complete these steps, it's incredibly important that you do them in the right order, because you can do the right thing at the wrong time and you won't get the outcome that you want. There is a process to follow. And it's really important that you follow these steps, a bit like making a cake, because if you combine the ingredients at the wrong time, or if you were to put the egg in after you've baked the cake, you're not going to get a cake. You're going to get an absolute mess. So if you think, like, just for a moment, like if you can remember a time that you've had maybe a great idea on something and you've just jumped headfirst into something, only then to give up after a few days because you started taking immediate action on something, but there was no real underpinnings there, And it very quickly, the excitement wore off. You stopped taking the action. You didn't get any result. It felt very messy. And then you actually stood there for a minute and went, why am I even doing this? And you didn't know. And that leads to the first step. The first step is belief. Like, belief is literally the first thing. Like, and let's be very, very honest. If you don't believe you can achieve something, you simply won't. Like, hard work will take you so far, and pig-headedness will take you so far, and faking it till you make it will take you so far. But to truly achieve something worth something, like to have something of a high level, you have to have belief. Excitement is great, like I said, to get you started, but it wears off very quickly. And then it leaves you with this giant feeling of fear. Like, I've been there. I've done things where I've just done it based off of excitement. And very quickly you end up in a dark hole, not really sure what you're doing. Like, this feeling of fear and emptiness starts to creep in. And all of a sudden you retreat back to old behaviors, and you start telling yourself it was a stupid idea anyway, just to make yourself feel better. And you're back to where you started, except for you've chalked up another failure, but not in a positive way. And for some people, this is an area that I think they get stuck. I know I've definitely been stuck in this area on several occasions. Like, figuring out how to control my belief was something that was pivotal to me really being able to turn my life into something I felt I controlled, and really being able to start to create the life I wanted and the businesses that I wanted. Because I think the reason some people get stuck here is they don't truly believe things are possible. And you find a way to try and half commit. So you want to believe it's possible. So you half commit to something because you want to protect yourself from the potential downside rather than fully committing to something. And hopefully this is starting to sound a little bit of a familiar situation for some people. And I'm not the only one here. But there's quite a lot of people, again, myself included, who've thrown money at a problem. You go and find a coach. You just think, oh, well, if I throw £10,000 at this coach, that'll fix the problem. If I throw £500 at this new system, that'll fix the problem. If I go and buy some designer clothes, that'll make me feel better about myself, rather than addressing the actual issue. Like, you give up responsibility for fixing your own problems and you hand it off to somebody else. You hire a coach, like I say, buy some software, whatever it might be, pay somebody a bunch of money, and then you complain when the problem still isn't resolved, even though you've done nothing to really fix it. But the solution is genuinely simple. You just have to find the belief. You have to be able to find that higher purpose. And this might sound a bit woo and a bit mumbo jumbo-y, but it's really about finding that higher purpose, and that's something that pulls you forward. And it's something that's higher and bigger than yourself. And it's about understanding what that is. For other people, it's about understanding what's holding you back. Like, you understand what your higher purpose is, but you feel trapped. Like, you literally feel like you're being held back by a force, stopping you from moving forward, usually fear holding you back. And a really quick story, just to explain what I mean by this, to bring it into an area of my life that it impacted me. And most of you know I went through a big weight loss journey. And obviously I grew up as a bigger kid. And by my early 20s, I weighed nearly 300 pounds. I'm 5'9". That's quite heavy. And I now weigh about 180 pounds. So I had a belief that I should be grateful for any girl that showed any interest in me at all. Because I thought, and my belief about myself was, I was disgusting. And all of the girls who rejected me, they were right to do so, because I was worthless. That was genuinely what made my belief at that point. So I wouldn't go after a girl that I truly thought was super hot or anything like that. Sorry to any girls I went out with at that point. But it's the truth. Like, it was a case of, I ultimately took what I could get because I didn't think I was worth anything. And I was surprised if anyone was interested in me. And I would use money as a way to try and fix this problem, to compensate people. I'd go out and I'd buy really nice clothes, designer clothes, all the gear, no idea, that kind of approach. Always paying for everyone's drinks. I was a great person to come out with if you didn't want to spend any money, because I'd buy all your drinks for the night. Like, I'd hire limos to take people out. in an effort to compensate for the fact that, in my opinion, I was disgusting. And then when I'd ask girls out and got a simple no, and there was always one situation that really stuck in my mind, and it resonated like a church bell in my head. And this girl said to me down the phone, "Look, Alan, I'll never be interested in you. You're not attractive, and like nothing will ever happen. So just stop and be grateful that we're even friends." And in that moment, I look back now and I'm like appalled at what that person said to me. But in that moment, they confirmed all of my own worst thoughts. But the reason being, I'm responsible for that. Like, I had that belief, I manifested that, and ultimately you reap what you sow. Like, I don't blame that person. I blame myself for that, because you have to take ownership of these things. The belief, like the real belief in myself, it didn't come until I had that greater purpose. For me, when it came to weight loss, my greater purpose was becoming a dad. I'll be honest, I didn't care about having a heart attack. I didn't care about any of that stuff. Yeah, I didn't like how I looked like, and yes, I felt worthless, but I didn't care enough to truly make a strong change until I had something bigger than myself. And that was becoming a dad. Like, I realized like I'm not really worthless, and actually, to go deeper, it didn't really even matter how I felt about myself, because now I had purpose. I grew up without a dad, and I was not going to allow my son to grow up without a dad. So I started to take massive action. It gave me a moment of real clarity that actually I'm now fully in control of what I want to achieve, especially as I started to see the results. And it was at that moment that I truly found my belief in my ability to be able to answer how to lose weight, the belief of finding out whatever the steps were that I needed to do, like belief in understanding how to keep it off for the rest of my life. Like, since that moment, I've lost about over 100 pounds in weight, kept it off now for over 12 years. So this was a really pivotal moment in my life, and one of many where I can see that belief was really a catalyst to everything else, because the next step after that is action. And this is a critical step in the process. And I think mindset coaching and mindset as a topic in general, it gets battered quite a lot of the time by people just focusing on the belief side of things and the mindset side of things. And it gets a bad reputation, not because it isn't important, because actually, if you speak to anyone who's truly successful, if you actually dig below some of the BS that they talk when they're trying to sell their own program, they'll actually tell you that mindset is the single most important part of the entire process, but it has to be part of a process. The next step from having belief is action. Like, you have to be able to take action. And like, we sit there getting really excited about making a change. A lot of people, and this is a really common mistake, they skip this step. They skip taking action, and then they just start strategizing, just so that they can delay the inevitable, because they're scared to start. Because if we start and it doesn't go well, we feel like a failure. We're hedging our bets again. This is like when people throw money at the problem to try and fix the belief issue. Like, we feel like our dreams are dead because we tried and it didn't work, and we didn't maybe truly believe enough in the first place anyway, or we didn't have a higher purpose in place. It shows that we're trying to build a house on sand foundations at this point. Like, as children, we were all pretty much told stuff like, look before you leap. And we convince ourselves that we have to be conservative with our actions for the good of other people, because then we create fake purpose. Can't take risks because, you know, I've got children. I have to be careful. I have to be a responsible parent. I can't take risks. I've got bills to pay. I've got to keep a roof over everyone's head. Only just being able to make rent again for the 500th month in the row. By definition, and I'm not knocking anyone like that, I've been in these situations, but I'm saying that we need to make that change. Like, by definition, an entrepreneur is someone who takes higher than normal risk. If you consider yourself to be an entrepreneur and you're trying to build a business and you're trying to create a life that you maybe haven't had before, you're trying to experience something new to give yourself an elevated life for your children or your grandchildren or whatever it might be, or just for yourself simply, you have to break out of these old belief patterns. You have to create new belief patterns that give you a whole new purpose. And then you have to start taking action. Like, we have to start taking action quickly. Like, the moment we have belief and we have purpose in place, bang, like, start taking some action. And this is the thing, I get a lot of pushback at this point in any process because I don't know what action to take. I need to build X, Y, Z. I need to have the whole path mapped out before I could even possibly consider starting, because that's what makes me feel more comfortable and gives me more certainty. If you're looking for complete certainty on a situation, the path of a business owner is not the right path for you. It's about understanding that being an entrepreneur and a business owner in its purest form is like driving at night around twisty roads. You have to trust that you can see 6 feet in front of you and that you'll be able to react to whatever is in front of you. Taking action, the quicker you take action, the better, because it allows you, once you have that belief and purpose in place, it allows you to start to move forward, because it's easier to keep a rock rolling than it is to start that inertia in the first place. Just start doing something. Start doing anything, like literally anything, because that gets you moving forward, which then leads to the next couple of steps, which are strategy and then recalibration. If you just start your journey, like if you just start taking action, even something as simple as making announcements to the world that you're going to work on this goal of fulfilling this big purpose that you're super excited about and super passionate about. Have you ever been around somebody who has found a purpose that they are so passionate about, and you're not even 100% certain really what they're going on about, but you start to get excited? It feels like it's catching. Like, you're like, oh, I want to be involved in this. Like, this guy sounds like they're like super involved in what they're doing, and they're really passionate, and their belief, they lend it to you. Like, all of a sudden you're like, yeah, I'm in. Like, I want to be involved in this. This sounds awesome. Like, and it's only when you sit down, you're like, what are we doing? That you even start to question it. But you can even pick up, as an example, your first clients in these types of situations before you even have a program, by being very open and transparent with people, saying, I don't even have a program built. Right? You can build, let's put this into logical terms, you can build a cash positive business, so a business that actually has income coming in literally overnight, by just declaring to the world what you're doing and being excited and showing people that you actually care about getting to that result. Literally with no product, with no real program mapped out, with no service built, and having not delivered it to anyone, but with a core belief of your purpose and your mission that's filled with belief. And then that leads to the next step, which is strategy. And strategy is going to be an area that continues to change. Strategy is always the area that people want to go to as soon as they find their belief. But we need to take that action first. We need to get things moving forward, because you have to make sure that there's a need for what you're looking to do in the marketplace. You need to make sure that actually, like, yeah, I do want to do this. Like, start taking some action, start moving forward. That then leads naturally to strategy. And strategy is going to be an area that continues to adjust and change. To me, strategy is like the GPS of a journey. Like, you get in your car and you put in the end destination of where you're going to get to, which is your goal, into the GPS. And if you start driving down a road and all of a sudden there's some roadworks, or the road's closed, or the bridge fell into the ocean, the GPS just reprograms it and tells you, okay, we're going to have to go a different way. You're going to have to maybe go back on yourself a bit and go around, or you're going to have to go over there and up. We've added a bit of time to the journey, but you're still going to get to your destination. At no point in the journey does your GPS ever turn around to you and say, sorry, that road's closed, abandon your journey and go home. But yet this is what we do so often when we're trying to chase our dreams, because it gets hard, because we aren't sure exactly what we need to do. We're not sure exactly which direction to turn next. We're not filled with certainty of exactly the steps to do every moment of the day. There's always another way. And that's why strategy is the way that it is important, that it continues to evolve. Like, it's about taking consistent action and believing in why we're doing that action. Like, your strategy is going to evolve as your business grows. To start with, you might just have a strategy of wanting to get a handful of clients to test your idea. And then your strategy is going to be, I'm going to focus now 100% on just delivering my service and getting those people results. Well, then over time, your strategy is going to evolve to a place where you're like, okay, I now need a constant stream of leads. How do I then at a later point build a team to manage aspects of that so that I'm not constantly in the business? See, over time, that strategy evolves, but it's the compass that keeps you on track. And in my honest opinion, I'll be really honest, strategy is the least important part of the entire process. Hear me out. Because it's the thing that everyone focuses on. It's the shiny object syndrome. But the tools are the least important tools in the world. Like, look at the pyramids as a prime example. Could we build the pyramids today? Probably. They built them hundreds of years ago, maybe even thousands of years ago. I don't know, because history is not really my strong point. But the fact is, they didn't have the tools. They didn't have the strategies that we have today when it comes to building. But yet they built something which is one of the wonders of the world. Okay, so strategy is the least important aspect of this process, but it's the one that people fixate on the most. It's like when someone is trying to lose weight and they focus 100% of their effort in the gym. Anyone who is a fitness coach is going to tell you you can't out-train a bad diet. But yet you find people who still lose weight. They haven't done it the most effective way, but they still get to their result one way or another if they have enough belief. So you can take the worst strategy, and if you truly believe in it, you're still going to see incredible results. Here's a couple of examples, just really briefly. Keto, prime example. I personally couldn't think of anything worse than removing carbohydrates from my life. Like, I love carbs, but there's plenty of people out there who believe at a core level, they believe with their full being that it's the answer. And guess what? They have fantastic results using it as the answer. But if you don't believe that you can live your life without carbs, it's not the right answer for you. It's not the right strategy. Same with all the other fad diets out there. Fad diets are fad diets. Most people, they don't have the belief in them. They believe in wanting to have flexibility, which is why flexible eating works so well. Like, there's a million people who are making barely enough money to get by, but yet they're blissfully happy in life. They have belief that life is good. When you write down their strategy of how they survive life on a piece of paper, and I mean it with complete respect, it looks terrible. I'm going to earn just enough money to pay all of my bills and have no money left. I'm going to work 50 or 60 hours a week, so I have very limited free time. But something about what they're doing makes them blissfully happy. They get everything they want from life. They achieve their goal. They're happy. But the process, the strategy they're using is terrible. You could take the best strategy in the world, whatever that might be, and apply it. But if you don't believe in it, it's not going to work for you. I've been there. I've done it. I've tried award-winning strategies. Guess what? Didn't work for me because I didn't understand it. I didn't believe in it. And I'm pretty sure you have too. And that leads to the final step, recalibration. And the final step, like I say, is recalibration. And this is the constant self-reflection that's needed to make sure that the actions you're taking and the strategy you're following is taking you in that direction of your goal. And then you start to make some refinements. Tony Robbins, I think, says it really well. If you continue to walk east, you'll never see a sunset. Like, you need to make sure you're walking in the right direction. You could use a rubbish strategy, but as long as you're walking in the right direction, you'll get to your goal eventually. The recalibration is where we start to create refinement to the process. It's where we start to find areas that we can improve so that we can speed up our results, because we don't want them to be unnecessarily slow. If we can do something that's obvious to make an improvement and it still allows us to do something we're enjoying with the process, then we want to continue to reevaluate and move forward. Recalibration is also important to make sure that we keep our belief fresh, like keep it fresh in our mind. Morning process is something that I think is incredibly important. An evening process. These are recalibration tools. You need to do something every day to keep it front of mind and make sure that you're working from that place of purpose. And I'll be honest, I have invested serious time, energy, tears, money, all of it into trying to understand these things better for myself, first and foremost. And I'm absolutely a work in progress, an ever improving work in progress. But for someone who started life by losing their dad at 4.5 years of age, experiencing several moments of childhood trauma, losing my mum to suicide in my mid-20s, and then losing my brother to a heart attack the following year, I've gone through, experienced financial highs and lows. To date, I've generated over £3 million in revenue. But before that, I was on the brink of bankruptcy and facing homelessness. I genuinely have had a journey, and I wouldn't change a moment of it. But to achieve your goal in life, there's a system. There is a process. They are repeatable steps that allow you to achieve any goal, but they need to be followed in sequence. It could be a weight loss goal, it could be building a business, it could be building a family. Whatever your goal is, there is a sequence. I want you to know whatever your goal is right now, it's achievable. But first of all, you have to find that belief. And I want you to know that you're not alone with your struggle. And I want you to know that if you have tried several times already to achieve your goal and you still haven't achieved it, it's okay. It's just not in season. It's coming. You still need to achieve something else. You need to unlock something else to really give you the belief to take the action that's needed to be able to move yourself forward into the systems and then to do that recalibration work. Okay? I want to extend an offer to just a handful of people. If you are someone who is stuck right now in your business, or you have the dream of starting a business and you're not really sure how to move forward, I don't care if you're just starting out or if you're already making six figures. If you're at a place where you're noticing repeated patterns of behavior showing up, you're doing the same things over and over again, you're driving yourself crazy because you're not seeing the result that you want to see, you're going to bed at night stressed, unsure how to create that sustainability you wanted, you're laying there thinking, how do I possibly get that first client? How do I possibly create consistent lead flow? How do I possibly become a good manager of people? If you feel so passionately about your goal and wanting to take it to the next level, but you just don't know how, I want you to reach out to me. I want you to either comment the word yes below or DM me the word yes. I don't mind where. I know a lot of people prefer to send a DM, but either is fine. And let's just have a conversation. Let's have a conversation about where you're currently at, what steps you need to put in place to get you to that next level. And I'm confident you will finish that call with something valuable. So confident, in fact, that if you don't come off of that call feeling like you have a clear next step, I'll pay you £100. Like I said, I've got limited calendar space, but I genuinely feel massive purpose to help as many people as I can. And I really want to help you get the breakthrough that you need to be able to move forward with your life. This is me being Alan. This is me being as authentic as I can. This comes from the bottom of my heart with kindness. I want to help you. Yes, I am a coach. Yes, I run a business. That does not mean that everyone I try and get onto a phone call, I am trying to sell something to. So if that's your thought right now, I would go and take a look in the mirror and I would reevaluate your belief. Because if you truly believe in your goal and you truly believe that you are destined to achieve something great, then you will do anything to achieve that goal. You will get help from everywhere possible. You will build a council around you of people who have got advice, people who have got systems, people who have walked different paths so that you can form your own. I am offering genuine assistance to anyone who feels truly compelled to make change in their life. If you are a new business, if you are an established business, like I say, we've generated over £3 million in revenue in the various businesses we've run. I've managed teams of small, large, being self-employed with no team. I have an opinion. I have strategies and systems that I am confident will help take you to the next level when it comes to belief and mindset, when it comes to lead generation, sales, closing, program delivery, all of these different areas. I look forward to hearing from you. I hope you found this helpful. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.